This is Kaza, baby. Okay. I should have more food. I have known Karen for, what are you going to say? 13 years?
Yeah, we still trying to remember, like, we were talking about doing the boot camps and stuff, but I don't remember.
13 years, and she messaged me through Gumtree, the good old days when you could just talk on, get a client like that on Gumtree. And she came to, I guess, Get Stronger, but she came to a kettlebell class, and the smallest kettlebell, so legitimately, I don't know if people know this, but like legally a kettlebell should be a size 8, and it comes smaller than that's been manufactured by fake companies, so you shouldn't use a less than an 8.
I just remember coming to that class, and it was a wee class thing. I peeked in and I was like, oh, I don't think I could do this, and she came out, she's like, oh, you're here for the class, and I was like, oh.
But I think I had some small ones because I realised people can't press heavy ones, and was it a 4?
Yeah.
You started using a 4. Now look at what you're lifting now.
Yeah.
So that's how I met Karen, and then she came back. I went obviously away backpacking travel, and then she came back in the middle of the pandemic.
October 2020.
And we were actually training outside.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, that's good, that was all the stuff there.
Okay. Yeah, and yeah, I'll probably say more as you go because I like to.
So that's good. I like when you
I like to add to the story.
Alright, yeah, so I suppose when I first met TL, I know some of you from back in the day, and we did all the like MetaFit and Insanity and like I was,
Tuesdays.
I suppose like at that point, like
I was watching. Triple whammy Tuesdays.
what was the one that was kind of like,
See now if you told me you were exercising 2 hours in one night, I'd be like, no, okay.
there's one that was like MetaFit and Insanity, but it was like timed and nobody could do it, so nobody got it. I can't remember.
FPX, and I stopped teaching it because nobody gets the concept yet.
So at that point, like I was running, but that was the only fitness stuff I'd ever done. So like TL really helped me at that point, just to be able to do things like planks, and we weren't like heavy lifting or anything. But
No.
when you went away, I did start going as well as all the running I was doing. I was going to the gym a couple of times a week with my friend from work. We would go at lunchtime. We'd just do like a wee circuit, and I suppose that like I was in like probably not too bad place. With my fitness, and that I wasn't maybe running like as much as I had been before, and then obviously like the pandemic happened, and I didn't really cope well with the lockdown. Like I didn't like the not being able to go out every day, go to work, like not having my routine, not being able to go to the gym. It kind of triggered a lot of anxiety in me, and then found out, I must have found you online, seen you were back, so we kind of reconnected then, and yeah, I was really struggling with a lot of stuff. I thought I was quite healthy, like, but when I started speaking to TL about stuff, I realised I really wasn't mentally and physically in a good place, and I had like a goal, like I wanted to be a better runner, so I was running like pretty much every day, but I had all these niggles, and I probably couldn't run more than like a 10k without pain. So it was like, although I was running a lot, like I was like, I want to be able to go and like maybe run a half marathon. I never believed I'd be able to run a marathon. I just didn't think that was something I'd be able to do. I didn't think I would be physically capable of it, but we set the goal of running a half marathon.
Sorry, before we go any further, the thing that happens when somebody's got a goal is, especially running, it happens a lot in like running clubs and stuff, that people believe they need to do more of that said thing in order to achieve that goal. But you don't, less is usually better.
So I was probably running like 6-7 days a week, and I was running to like try and manage my anxiety, but I was probably making myself more unwell. I wasn't like fueling, I was sore all the time. So it was a long process. Like when I first came into the gym, I couldn't bend down to pick up the bar.
Yeah, we were chatting about that the other night.
I couldn't squat.
So she couldn't reach a bar that was probably about this height. We had to raise it up so that her hand would be to here, her knee, just mobility issues.
I was like really, a really bad way. Like even though I was out running, folk think, oh, you're fit. Like I wasn't. My mobility was really poor. I mean, it's not like amazing now, but I can do a squat and I can do a deadlift, you know. So
Much better now though.
yeah. So it took us like a year nearly a year to get me to a place where I could run that half marathon and achieve the goal that I set. So a lot of work went into that. So I mean, I want to go into bits of my story today. Like I've shared my full story before the way Ashley did. Some of you'll know a lot about it, some of you won't. But I've got like a long history of disordered eating and mental health issues. So like I'll go into bits of that because it's kind of unavoidable not to. But I don't want to go really deeply into it. Was what I wanted to speak today, and Ashley touched on it as well about we have what TL calls the basics. So these are the things that we do. We implement on a daily basis, and that's where the magic happens basically. You know, it's like if you don't do that stuff, you're not going to achieve your goals. It doesn't matter. Showing up for the gym doesn't really matter if you're not going to do that stuff. So
the other thing with the basics is that they are 5 to 7 basics, right? Every single person does them regardless of their goal, but they do them at a different, what's the word I'm looking for? They don't do the exact same volume, so people's can be different depending on their goal.
So yeah, that's where you get the results. That's the stuff I'm going to speak about, but I'm just going to speak about where I was at the start and what helps me. So sleep is the first one. Like my sleep was really bad. I've never been a great sleeper. I developed tinnitus maybe about a couple of years before like the pandemic. Just woke up one day with like this ringing in my ear. It got worse. I was diagnosed with hearing loss. I got the hearing aids and stuff, but it was always at night time. It was really bad. So I would just lie awake, and like I used to speak about insomnia, but what I meant was it was a shit sleeper. Like, but I actually did experience insomnia at that point where I would have nights where I just didn't sleep at all. I'd be awake the whole night, and it really triggered my mental health. My anxiety was through the roof, and that in turn was making the tinnitus much worse, which in then was making the sleep worse. But I was going into my work some days and I hadn't slept at all. I was really not coping. I was in a really dark place. So that was kind of going on for me at the time. And I guess like a good night would have been 4 to 5 like really broken hours. So like I guess a big thing for me has been just having to learn to live with this as part of my sensory experience. I have done a lot of work on that. Something that really works for me was sleep. I don't know if any of you do this, but the thing I used to do through the night was pick my phone up and look at what time it is. So I started doing this. I don't know if it was you or I'd read something about it, but as soon as I implemented this, I was like, why was I not doing this before? Like about 8 o'clock at night, I'll put my phone down in a room that I'm not going to go back into. I don't sleep in it, and I don't look at it again until I sit down at my laptop in the morning.
I always suggest though, an hour before you go to bed, and an hour when you wake up without any phone or screen use. It's really good. So like, for me, just to give another example, I pull up in my car, I either do it here in my car before I leave, any final kind of messages to clients like that, or when I pull into my driveway and then my phone goes away. And then I'm up in an hour every morning before I use my phone, and I have every single one of my notifications turned off. I don't get a single notification coming through. Notifications are bad for you.
That made a big difference to me, like knowing what time, like wanting to look at the time and all that, like it's not helpful, and just having that, like having the phone there and being like, I just saw the things that your brain associates with the phone. That was really like helpful doing that, and I'm pretty disciplined about that now.
You're very good with it.
Just because it helps me so much, and I realised how bad it was for me. Like even like, see when I go to bed, like I don't look at the time. I read until I feel sleepy. Now sometimes that's longer than others, but there's no benefit to me looking to see what time it is, because then I immediately start doing the math in my head. Right, you've got this many hours to sleep. I'll go to sleep. I'll put my light off when my eyes start closing.
And you don't get to sleep because you're like, oh my god, I need to get up in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Never look at the time. My alarm goes off when it goes off. I think getting up at similar time, regardless of how much you sleep, is really helpful. So you're not having that like messed up sleep pattern.
100%.
And
That's something we worked hard on together actually. So it's like, regardless of So I always say set yourself a sleep schedule, 10 till 6 or whatever it is, but regardless of when you go to bed, you should always get up at the same time every day. That's where you're going to get most benefits. But that was hard to start with for you.
Yeah, because I used to think, oh, I'm going to catch up on my sleep and all that, but and just being mindful of caffeine intake, I would say is helpful, and just learning to manage stress. And I think like putting that phone in that other room, like regardless of what's going on in my life, I'm pretty good at like, right, put that in a box and we'll come back to it tomorrow, because taking that into the night isn't going to help me. So that's been the sleep stuff. I mean, I think working out what your kind of optimal sleep window is as well. Like I'm not somebody that can go to sleep at 10 o'clock, so I usually go to sleep between 11:30 and 12. Sometimes it's 12:30, but then I'll get up. I mean, depending, like if I'm getting up a bit earlier this week, but when I'm working from home, I'll get up between 7 and 8, and that works for me. And if I get 7 quality hours, 7 to 7.5 hours with like a couple hours of deep sleep, I feel great. But I think different people have different kind of needs that way.
And the only thing I would say off the back of that is obviously that Karen's find that it works for her, but see people who are awake between the hours of, like so from 10 PM until 12 AM, they are basically classed the same as a shift worker. So you get more from your sleep if you're sleeping between those hours than you do go to bed after 12. Like mental health wise.
So yeah, you get more bang for your buck if you go to bed early, but I'm just not somebody, and evolutionarily we're not all programmed the same.
No.
Some of us are night owls. Like I think there's evidence that backs it up as well, so I think there's a kind of middle ground with those two things. Like if I go to bed at 10 o'clock, I'm just going to be lying awake. You know, even if I'm like super tired.
I had a conversation with one of the other morning chicks the other day about her sleep, and it's like she has to be up at 5:30 in the morning, but she's not got to bed until after 12. That's more when problems would come in, so she should be going to bed at 10, whether you're a night owl or not. You need to get that sleep.
Yeah. I couldn't get up at 5:30 in the morning. So the next thing I was going to speak about is nutrition. So that's been like that's probably been the hardest thing for me, just with my like history of disordered eating, and like I don't really want to go heavily into it. Like I was diagnosed with anorexia in my teens and a depression, and was in like psychiatric treatment until I went to uni. Did put weight on, but probably similar to the stuff that Ashley said. Like I just spent like my adult life deflecting from dealing with emotional stuff, so whether that was drinking drugs, like going in and out of disordered eating patterns, being obsessed about weight management, exercising obsessively, like I just kind of went through life doing that. So I wasn't always like super underweight, but to put it into context, when I joined the Warrior Chicks, I just turned 42. And I'd never had a regular like menstrual cycle in my whole adult life. And within a year of training with TL, my periods like since then have been like clockwork every like 26 days.
Does it have
It's just like kind of sad in a way, but also just shows you how much like I wasn't like giving my body enough fuel.
Also, periods and bowel movements are your indicators of health. People tell me you don't go to the toilet every day, you should be going to the toilet every day. That's another topic. Morning, poo chat! That's a joke.
Chatting to Claire, there's a lot about the poo chat. So much about them inside, so shouldn't be in the chat.
So yeah, when I joined, I was like, I mean, I've been vegan for a wee while. I've been, probably about 7 or 8 years now, but I was quite early on in my journey with that at that point. But I'd also, as part of my coping with all my anxieties, I'd excluded lots of food groups. So carbs were bad, I wasn't eating white bread, white pasta, white rice. Hadn't eaten refined sugar for months, so like my diet was really limited. I was pretty much eating fruit and veg and like peanut butter, yeah. Pretty much, like I was like hardly eating anything, so probably would have met a diagnosis for orthorexia, which is like a much more common thing now since we had the whole clean eating movement. I got like Women's Health magazine. I had this huge collection of all these magazines, and don't know if other people remember that, but that was a big thing, the whole clean eating movement. I mean, that's just like disordered eating, like it's totally disordered eating. so I had this like low carb diet that was, I guess, had a lot of healthy food in it, but it was high in fat, and I was really afraid of carbs. I never fueled my runs. So if I was running in the evening, I just wouldn't eat all day, because in my head, if I eat food, that's going to upset my stomach when I run. So yeah, I was running like fasted, I was underfueled. So we had to do a lot of work on that, because no way I could have trained for a performance-based goal if I wasn't going to be prepared to change that. And like, remember when like you were talking to me about taking gels and stuff? I'm like, I can't eat that. That's like totally bad for you. So
All
like,
that sugar in it.
I mashed up like half a banana and put it in a plastic bag, and that's what I used to take when I was going out on my runs. Like, that was how I started fueling. So now I had to change my relationship with carbs and sugar, because sugar's bad, but you like have to take in simple sugars for running. And now I have a kind of rule that I only get to train if I've fueled my body, whereas I used to train to burn the calories I'd eaten. Do you know what I mean? So I think tracking's really important. I don't track every day. I like can develop an unhealthy relationship with numbers, whether that's the watch or the whatever, but it's actually not the tracking that's the issue, it's my relationship with the numbers that's the issue. I think you need to track to understand what your body needs and to know what's in things. You can't like...
So I try and get people with the first 3 months to come on board, I would say, like, let's track your food so they can learn, but after that ideally you wouldn't be tracking, whereas I meet people now that are still tracking and after 20 years.
Yeah, and I like, if I'm starting a new goal or whatever, I'll maybe track for a couple of weeks just to see where I'm at, and like, you know, you have to play about with things to see what's going to work. My brain copes better with tracking carbs and protein rather than calories. Like, I try not to focus too much on calories, because there's always like an emotional connection with calories, but I guess I need to be honest if I'm struggling with something, and let's say, oh no, this is hard, I don't think I can do this, or like, because it's really easy to slip back into old habits when you've done them for so long.
We had some really deep conversations, and like we literally spoke about one topic there, and no joke, for was that 2 weeks we spoke about the minimums and maximums, like, but we like get right into it, and actually it helps like Karen's previous or moving forward, but also it helps me learn as a coach why people that maybe things don't work. But that's what I meant earlier when I was saying about Ashley starting to open up as well. It helps the coaching relationship a lot more, so then you can give more and get more.
Yeah, and I like just being aware of things that are going to trigger you or things that don't feel right. And I've you know, food for me was always like, there was always a judgment on it. So I think learning just to eat food because it brings me joy and it makes me happy because I want it. It's been a really big part of my journey as well, and it not being like part of fueling or whatever. So yeah, a lot of work has been done on the nutrition part. Obviously, like, my goals are usually performance based, so like if I'm training for marathons, then that involves eating a lot of food. And I think that probably was one of the things I never thought I'd be able to have that relationship with food. Hydration. I don't think I was too bad at hydration, but I think again you need to track it initially to see how much you're actually drinking. I was probably drinking too much caffeine, not enough water. I find it helps to front load my day, so drink a lot of water in the morning, and then I drink loads of like caffeine-free tea normally. I think just having a decent water bottle really
massively helps. If I don't have a good water bottle,
and like electrolytes as well, learning about that, and particularly as a runner, like, you know, if you're like just putting loads of water in and not replacing all that lost sodium, you're actually just making yourself more dehydrated, and like, so
Your recovery will be worse as well.
if you are somebody that runs and finds that water sloshes about in your stomach, I'd recommend putting an electrolyte in it. I don't know why, but it just doesn't do that the same, does it? So
Your body absorbs it a bit more as well.
yeah, so hydration is a fairly simple one, but I do think you need to like stay on top of it and track it. So definitely.
You finished on hydration? The big thing that people say to me is like they forget, and it happens with food as well, it's like, oh, I forget to eat or I forget to drink water, and that's a sign usually that your body's not regulating, so your metabolism and stuff's not great. So the biggest tip I can always give for that is to set an alarm. So if it's for water, set an alarm on your phone every hour to make yourself drink, and for food every 3 to 4 hours depending on your goal. And then eventually after a few months of doing that, your body will start regulating and naturally ask you for it, so to speak.
Yeah. The next one, steps. not something I struggle with, I have to say.
Yeah, I cut steps down. It's like when she's running a marathon, I'm like, cut down. No.
So like I don't drive, so that's like kind of half the battle, and I've got an energetic dog, so like my steps kind of take care of themselves. The other day I was on like trains and buses most of the day, just getting here and going up to Paisley. And I got to the gym and I was like, I need to go for a walk later, and I'd done like 8,500 steps. But it's just, see when you're getting like off one bus and then walking to the underground, like it's amazing how many steps you get. Like, so if if you're somebody that drives, like try taking public transport one day, see how many more steps you get. And running does help your steps, and obviously like Tia says, if I've been for like a 15-mile run, I'm not going to be like, oh, I need to get my 10k steps, but I do normally, like the way I'm running just now, if I run for an hour, I'll still do 10k steps over and above my run. Running actually doesn't give you as many steps as you think, because your strides are longer, so it's not like massive.
That, and also the other confusion is that running steps don't help with fat loss. That's not fat loss space.
Unless you're running as one too.
Yeah, but most people can't run as well too. They don't know what it is.
So, and this is some, I think, steps, and that we talked about the habit stacking stuff. Julie mentioned that before. I better talk about this.
I really say if he's not adding much.
Like, habit stacking, so say you're like, oh, I'm too busy, don't know how to fit my steps in. Like, can you do some of your work calls while you're walking, or instead of meeting a friend, sitting down, can you just go and have a coffee and a walk? Like, I think just being creative and being intentional. Like, these things don't happen by accident if they're not already part of what you're doing. So just thinking about like fitting in like a wee 15-20 minute walk here and there makes all the difference.
Park your car further away. I know you don't drive, but if you park your car further away from places, that helps.
Getting up and walking about your house, like I feel like I'm somebody that just can't sit still, so it's probably like, but I think just like being a bit more intent, again setting the alarm and getting up and moving about. Something I did that really didn't help me. Remember I did this a few years ago, and it was like, I'm going to walk 10k steps a day every single day for a year.
But then that's one of your, and then when that gets broke.
Yeah, so it should should be easy for me, because my average steps are like 18 to 20k. Right, that's my average day. But I did set myself this goal that I was going to walk 10k every single day, no matter how many I'd done the day before. And then like it came to like I'd nearly finished it, and it was like really bad weather, and I was up at my mum and dad's. I remember having like this like screaming row with my mum, and she's like, "Why are you going out with that?" I was like, "Because I need to get my 10k." And then I was out in it, and I was like,
And the other things, like, I've never given you that as a goal. Like, that's not a goal.
No, I
that's
just
something
decided.
created.
It's kind of like doing a run streak. Like I have to do this every day. Why are you doing it? It's like so. And it was me just like tuning into that obsession with numbers, like getting obsessed with numbers. Like that was part of how I got rid of my Garmin. I got a different kind of watch, because like just this emotional attachment to these arbitrary numbers. Like I have some days now where I only walk 9,500 steps. I have no desire to go out and round up to 10,000, because I know that's but like that breaking that was really hard as well, and that wasn't healthy. I think it's about consistency over the piece. So it's alright to have some days you don't hit 10,000, like it's not a big deal. And I don't really look at my steps, only on days like the other day where I think, oh, I don't think I've done a lot of steps, and then I'll have a look. But most days I don't look now.
But if you're sitting your ass for a full day, right, your average steps would still be really high for the week. Because if you average 1,900, say, not 19, aye. Anyway, sorry, carry on.
22 minutes.
You've got plenty of time.
And
actually, I think you started before I put that on.
but walking for me is like my therapy. Like I'm not somebody that's like could sit in the house all day. I really struggle with it. Like walking for me is like when I think about things. It's just like emotional regulation. So, yeah, I just like if you get into the habit of walking, I think it's got a lot of benefits for health and stuff. Like just overall health. I think it's really underrated.
Massively underrated.
Training.
See, when like somebody new comes to me, or somebody who's maybe lost their way a wee bit, I'll actually usually give them two things. One of them's to get out of the house for 20 minutes every day and to eat 3 meals a day. you don't need a lot, you just need to be consistent. And what Karen's talking about, all the basics, it's consistency, but again, you might not need all these for your goal. You know.
Yeah. So the next one's training. Like, I feel like training is like the least important one, although I always think it's the most important thing is to fit my training in, but actually like all the other stuff's more important. But I don't, like, I'm pretty disciplined about my training because I like it and I'm motivated to do it most of the time. But the hardest thing definitely the hardest thing that I have had to learn to do is not to run, to manage my emotions or to deflect from emotions. Like, I've had to learn to sit with my feelings, and that's why I totally connected with what you were saying, because I had just totally learned how to not feel stuff. As soon as I started to feel like this build up of some sort of emotional reaction, right, I'm going for a run, right, or you know, I would, right, I'm not going to eat any lunch, right, it's just always, right, I'm going to go and get drunk, right, you know, it's just always like some behaviour to deflect the emotion, and like I'd done that for such a long time. So when Tia was like, "Look, you're going to have to take rest days," I was like, what?
What do you mean?
And not only are you going to have to take rest days, but you're going to have to eat on those. Because if I had the day before and went exercise, I would have really restricted my calories. That would have just been like what I would have done. So I had to also not do any exercise and also eat like normal amount of food. Or often more because you're like recovering. So that was really, really hard. I had to sometimes leave the house because I didn't trust myself not to put my trainers on and go for a run. That sounds mad, but I can remember phoning you one day, like it must have been in the pandemic.
And you sat somewhere as well, and you were crying as well, aye.
Like, it's just like this is so hard, but then I just sat with the feelings and like worked through them, and then they would pass over and nothing horrible would happen. But that's definitely that, and the like
that's not
food.
even like an issue now though. Those two things
No.
are just not, we don't even discuss them anymore.
No, and I don't, like, don't get me wrong, sometimes I'll get an urge to go for a run when it's like a day when I'm strength training, but I don't act on it. Like, I just go, right, oh yeah, you're running tomorrow, so just go and get your strength session done. I mean, that's just normal human emotions. Like, on days when I'm going to work, I wish I was like going to the beach, you know, it's just like that. It's not like that, you know, you do like, I do what I need to do, but I think for me, just, I don't know what I thought was going to happen when I was feeling stuff, but like it just got easier the more I did it, and yeah, I guess just like the performance-based training, you need to be pretty disciplined, not just about showing up, but about sticking to the plan.
Yeah.
So
That's
like,
a big thing that people think they can do week 1 and then they just miss 2 or 3, and then I'll do week 4. It doesn't work like that.
yeah, and just doing what's on the plan, so you know, like not going out and doing more, or like it's okay, I think we do less, but not say, oh, I feel good today, so I'll go and do an extra 5 miles or whatever. Yeah, so that's probably been like, although I'm motivated to train, it's not like I have weeks where I don't train or anything, it's just been like learning to like take those rest days and see the rest as part of the training, and not
Yeah,
having
sure.
them.
You utilise your rest days very well in the sense of like rolling, stretching, rehab. It doesn't,
Yeah.
a rest day doesn't mean doing nothing. It means still working towards your goal.
And then that's the last one, is like the active recovery one. So I think just seeing that's what I've said, like reframing active recovery as part of my training. So I think for me, what often works is like doing a little bit every day. So, or doing a bit after each session, or like, oh, I've got like 10-15 minutes, I'll do a little bit of stretching, a little bit of foam rolling, rather than trying to do like an hour long kind of thing.
That's quite often an afterthought for people. Like people, some of my clients would be like going on holiday. Sorry, you're putting it in my head now, and it's like, oh, you're not the only person's done it this summer. Can I get an extra session? And I'm like, when was the last time you stretched? Oh, I don't really do that. Right, we'll maybe do some of that when you're away. Do you know what I mean? But it happens quite a lot. People think they constantly need to do more of the hard stuff, but actually, usually not doing get results, like I said earlier, it's actually doing less.
Yeah. And having weeks so you deload and let your body recover, and yeah.
And I was just thinking there when you were chatting about not being able to take rest days, see every time Karen does an actual race now, I'm not doing the race with her obviously, she has a whole week off after now.
Yeah, I do. I'll take a week off.
Uh-huh. You wouldn't have done that before. You've still been walking and stuff, but
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I find it so hard in it. No, but I'm usually like, I mean, I think when you've raced hard, like your body kind of is not like, you know, it thanks you for it, like
Yeah.
take a rest. So you should probably take longer than a week, but
takes your body after probably a 4-hour marathon. It would take your body a full 6 weeks to recover properly, so it could take
It's
longer.
a day for every mile.
yeah. So
It's a good way to look at it.
I'm by no means like totally nailed it, but I'm definitely better than I used to be. I wanted to, so that's like that's all the non-negotiables, isn't it?
Yeah, all
basic
basics.
stuff covered. I also did want to speak about the mindset stuff, which Ashley's spoken about, and like I don't think I would have been able to do any of the other stuff if I hadn't been working on my mindset, and I feel like I work on my mindset every day. We've got a lot of stuff in the community that really helps with that. So like the Facebook, I love the Facebook posts, and you know, we've got obviously our check-ins and reflection. Like I've been here 5 years, I still do my check-in every week, and I will continue to do it because it's not, you don't get to about the mindset, I don't think, where you're like, right, that's me, I'm sorted, I don't need to do this anymore.
I think that's the good, like the way you view it though. Like,
Yeah.
so I try and there's still named check-ins essentially, but I try and reframe it as it's a reflection of your week. It's you doing a bit of journaling and seeing what you need and what you maybe didn't work that week and stuff. But I think when people still see it as a check-in, and they try and avoid it.
Yeah, I think it's for me, I need to be honest with myself and honest with you, otherwise I start going into unhealthy habits again.
Yeah.
And I think the transformation for me, like, you know how you see people's like before and after pictures, if you looked at pictures of me at the start, my bum's bigger, but you don't see that much of a difference. Like I'm still wearing the same size clothes and stuff, like
Yes.
it's the inside stuff
You
that's
did
changed.
put on like
You
half
didn't
the
have
stone.
any bum with
No,
it?
No, it was like flats of pancake, but like
You can shoulder those
my,
now
but
as
my
well.
jeans would have been like tight on my waist and hanging off my butt. Now they're loose on my waist and they fit, so like they just fit me better.
Yeah, more efficient.
But like it's the actual inside stuff that's changed. I think I spoke about that, just learning to sit with feelings. I think just opening up as well, like Ashley spoke about. Like I feel like I've opened up a lot in this community in ways I haven't just with anybody else in my life or in other spaces. I used to be very guarded and secretive about my disordered eating, but that's part of the illness, is keeping it a big secret from people. And I think, like, you know, there's always this fear for me when I speak about I'm struggling, that then I'm giving away power and control, but a lot of it's that stuff. Again, it's that perfectionism, like everyone Ashley was saying, I totally related to that, because it's a lot of it's giving that away and admitting that you're not doing okay.
But there's more power in that than actually avoiding something.
And I think for me, like for years and years, just been obsessed with what my body looked like and really hating it, like absolutely hating it. Like, see, when I was young, I used to lie awake, and this is no joke, I don't think I've ever told anybody this before, but I used to worry about if I was in like a car crash or I died or something, and like I would worry about it, be horrified at the fact that people, if I was to die, would see my body because I thought it was so disgusting. Like that used to be something that like really bothered me, like I really hated it.
Do you want a tissue?
And like it's that thing about like holding on to stuff like that, like it's upsetting to share it, but I'll feel better than I have, because like, I think about how much I've come on from that. It's not like I think I look amazing, but I just like, I don't care what my body looks like now. It's not important to me. What's important to me is what I can do. Like I never thought I'd be at a place where I'd be able to say I ran a marathon in like under 3 hours and 30 minutes. Like I don't think I deserve to be able to do that for what I put my body through, you know, like I think we all need to kind of be really switched on as women to how like subtle and insidious all the messaging is about what your body should look like. And so that's what I really love about this community. There's none of that in here, like nobody's like looking you up and down or caring what your body looks like. But I mean, even like back in the day when I was coming along to your classes, which I loved, like a few people said to me like things like, why are you here? You don't need to be here, you don't need to.
Do you know, I was thinking about this when Ashley was talking earlier and I wanted to touch on it, but I'm very aware of not going off topic a bit, but I think it is relevant, and a thinner body doesn't equal a healthier body. It doesn't. A thinner body's not healthier.
Like I didn't have a period for most of my adult life. You know, I did occasionally but I would go like full years without them. I wasn't healthy, and I had wasted so much of my life hating my body, and I regret that. But I can't go back and change that. But like to have the peace that I have now with my relationship with myself, and being able to eat without guilt, and being able to share the stuff I share up, I'm really, really grateful to that, and to you, and to all you, because I never thought I would have that.
You not finished yet?
No,
36 minutes!
no, I haven't got much else, but
No, it's
yeah.
okay.
I was going to speak a bit about speaking like just about how to kind of show up when life gets in the way, but I think
Yeah, that's been.
I think it's just about having that really strong why, again what Ashley spoke about, and just like we don't all have the same lives, like we all have the same amount of hours in the day, but we've all got different commitments. It's easier for me, I don't have children, I've got a flexible job, I can train more easily than other people, but it's not easy for me in that way that, you know, a lot of the things that I'm doing, I think, like, but, you know, I've learned that it doesn't need to be perfect every day. So when I got my 3:30 last year, I was moving house, I was super stressed. We did a time-based plan, so it was like a 2-hour run in the plan, and I had 70 minutes, so I went out and did 70 minutes. I didn't think about it, I just did what I could, and like, I would say that would be like my biggest advice, like don't chuck the whole day in the bin because you can't show up for an hour. Like 30 minutes is better than, you know, like some days.
It's the consistency, like, so that's why we were chatting earlier about rolling sessions on. It's the same as this, it's like, if you've got an hour in your plan, you can only do half an hour, just go and do half an hour.
Yeah, and just and doing something and just keeping like chipping away at it. But yeah, I'm going to stop speaking now. I did have other things written down, but I can't read them now because my eyes are all bloody. But I really appreciate you all and the opportunity to share and stuff, because
We appreciate
it really
that.
helps me.
Always feel like every time you talk, though, something different comes out, which is really interesting, something on you all these years. 3 questions, are you up for the questions?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone? June.
Yeah.
You talked about when you had to start eating.
Can I have the what?
When you had to start eating, because I've known Karen
yeah.
since she was skinny.
Uh-huh.
Karen used to run. So we did the sessions in was it Corker? No, it was Corker Hill.
The most part.
Yeah, we did the Corker Hill one we did the sessions up there. And Karen would run from where she stayed in Pollock Shields
Yeah.
all the way there, do the session, and run all the way back. I would say to her, like, how could you do that? I still don't know. Especially now that you've told me you were fueled with nothing.
I know.
So now, because that was just a wee aside. Now that you've worked through all of that, and you were talking about the day that you phoned Tracy Lee, was that a wee bit of panic that was there because it was difficult to engage with this new way of behaving, knowing that it was different, or was it something else?
I think it was just like, I guess I just always had done that. That was just always my response, and I was like, I just really wanted this better version of myself, and I just really wanted it. So, like, but I felt awful. I was like, I can make this go away immediately if I just go and run. Like, and I guess a bit of it, I don't know, it's like a kind of numbing thing. Like, you know, when I've been through different things, I used to self-harm, and I did that because I think it numbed me emotionally, and I took a lot of drugs for a long time, and that was the same thing. But actually to have to sit with that, So yeah, it's panic, it was anxiety, it felt really overwhelming, but actually, so phoning Tracy Lee because she knew like that I was doing that. At the end else it would just been like totally sounding crazy, but I guess to talk about it as well, I realised that helps to break the power of it. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does, absolutely does.
Definitely, it was definitely panic there, but it was just a foreign thing for me to sit and feel something that was uncomfortable.
Did you try and never get help from anyone else before?
Well, like I said, I had like a really negative experience of psychiatric services when I was in my teens. Like, the psychiatrist was always awful, and they put me on like really, really strong antidepressant medication, and they kept changing my medication, but almost like quite a long time ago. But like I couldn't function. I couldn't get out of my bed. I couldn't see with one of the medications they gave me. So I was always really like resistant, and maybe I should have done that. I saw like a therapist for a few years, but I was still, I didn't want to get well, so I just used to lie to her. You know, she'd weigh me in, I'd book a food diary, like I would just put like heavy things in my pockets and all that. Like I wasn't in a place to deal with it, but yeah, and over the years I'd maybe spoken to doctors and they just offered to put me back on antidepressants, and like that was partly why I started running, because I didn't want to be on antidepressants, and running is such a natural antidepressant, but the problem was it then became a coping strategy that went out of control. So yeah,
I think you hit the nail on the head there as well with something like you said, like you're going somewhere with disordered eating disorders and they're weighing you. That says it all. Like the system is so broke. Like the girl who makes our clothing, was recently declined therapy because she's underweight or BMI. More questions that we're looking for. Nah?
Well, I could ask another one if nobody else has got one.
I've got loads, but
in response to what you said, Jackie, though, like because you know my work, like you know at the store I joined here and what I do now, I work in alcohol and drug services and ran a lot of groups and things, and like I can remember I'd set up this kind of group thing, people you know, some people in a WhatsApp group, and like I used to run that for people who just kind of like treatment, and I used to think I'd love to have a space like this where I could just come in and talk about that, and I feel like this space is that for me, and it isn't about doesn't need to be professional people, it's just a place to unburden yourself of what's in your head and not to be judged. That's all I really needed. I don't think it's like it's any more complicated or difficult than that, but when you've held on to stuff for so long and people just always automatically wanted to medicate you, then it can be really difficult to let go of that. And I'm not against antidepressants, but like just for me that I just felt like I didn't want to be. I did my anxiety was medicated for a while because I just wasn't coping, but
sometimes that's not the answer though, but that's what they'll go to first. Yeah.
But the other issue you would have had was if they didn't have an accurate weight for you, the medication they were giving you was probably in much greater dose than you should have been on, and also quite often it's adult medications that are given to young people, and you react differently when you're an adolescent, so they should really be tailoring medications to that age group.
They didn't have the kind of stuff they have now for depression, but it wasn't a good experience.
I think like a big lesson that like I've learned from you is to sit in how I feel. That's one of the hardest things that you can do, but the only way you're going to get through something is to sit in how you feel and don't avoid it. Easier said than done.
So what would be one of that is difficult, you know, and I find that people are trained not to, you know, the key always change it.
That's what I was saying earlier about how like show up here as you are, show up here as yourself. It doesn't matter if you're having a bad day or a good day, because coming from that is like, that's where I came from initially as well. It was always about being upbeat and positive and manifesting things, but manifesting, you know, all the money and all the job and handbags. And I'm like, sorry, that isn't real life.
no yoga, no, maybe something I'll tell you about it later. But yeah, so like for people that find that difficult, what would be your top couple of tips for people who do that?
To sit
Phone
with
to
you.
Yeah, I like, oh, it's difficult.
Or what worked really well for you?
Because I guess, like, just, I think we're kind of conditioned to being positive all the time and feel good things, and like, all emotions are valid,
Yes.
I think. You know, being a bit more open to it, like, this is an emotional experience, what is it about it that's unpleasant, why am I feeling this, what can I do about it, or am I just feeling, is it just something to sit with and feel, but rather than, oh my god, this is bad emotion, I need to escape it, or I need to flip it, it's like, what is this trying to tell me, why am I feeling this, because then, you know, you get to the point where it affects your relationships with people, because you don't want to feel like a negative thing, so then you end up just doing like, try to please people all the time and never speak your mind, so yeah, I think just like, trying to be like open to experiencing all emotions and not
And no emotion's a bad emotion. And that brings me coming back to like the stuff Sandra was chatting about. That was in like my first job, all of that stuff, and then one of the things that we were conditioned to say, and I've only realised this, I'm going back 20 years, I've only realised this in the last couple of years, and I've spoken about it in here. I was so conditioned that if somebody said to me, how are you? Hi, I'm good.
yeah.
And then in the last 3 years, obviously, as most people know, I've had my life flipped upside down and pulled inside out, right? And I wasn't good, but I was still coming in here like, I am good. And then one day I was like, fuck it, I'm not good, I'm just going to say I'm not good. And actually I think people appreciate that more, but also for me showing up and being like, oh, I'm not good today, or my end was off, or whatever's happened with my dad, or whatever, then actually it's helped me get through it all. Do you know what I mean? And I think you should just
Makes you more human then, because you know that you're having a crap day, I've had that day, or you know, everybody has.
But I think as well in like my job, and it's probably the same with some people in here, you're not supposed to be that person. So when all you guys come in here, I'm supposed to be like away up here. And I actually said to Claire, like, I think it was you a couple of weeks ago, I don't have that in me anymore. I just want to come to work and I want to be motivational for you guys, but I'm not doing all that. I've kept, woo, here we go, I'm great,
Authenticity
Do you know what I mean?
and vulnerability is more inspiring for me
Yeah.
than